Emergency money is one of the most important money you have to have, because Africa is not like the West, for example, in Europe or in America, where you have a system that if you are sick, that you can go there and the system will take care of you. I don't know much about in America, but one thing I know in Europe, especially in Germany, because I myself I am living in Germany. If you are working, you pay a part of your salary in the system, that's so that if you are sick, you can go to hospital without taking your own money and pay for it. Even if you are not working, there is a system you can go there and you will get a treatment. But in our society, in Africa, for example, in Gambia, if you get sick, there is no system that will pay your bills in the hospital. So you have to pay everything by yourself. And if you don't have the money for that, you could die. Because if you don't have somebody who can borrow you the money and you don't have it, what are you going to do? So that's why emergency money is very, very important. I'm teaching this for several years, that everybody in my family should have an emergency money. So today I want to give you some story about myself. I came here in Germany, I think, end of 2002. So I went to school here. I did my Realschule, I think that is secondary school. After that, I went to the gymnasium, that is in high school here in Germany. So everything was fine at that point, because I was not working. My dad was paying everything for me. But the time I started my university, I moved out from my dad's place. I took a place where I live by my own. So the things start to crack down, because first year we have to pay university fee. I think it is 300 to 400 euros. But I didn't have a job at the time, so I have to borrow the money from one of my friends. He's from Eritrea. I borrowed the money from him so that I could pay my university fee. And then I found a job. So I was working in this company. Then the place I was living, so I have to move there. I have to move out of the place to another one. But if you move out and you want to take another room, you have to pay a down payment there. So the down payment was 900 euros. So as you can see, I have 900 euros plus the 400 euros I borrowed from my guy. So I was now in minus. So it took me the entire university time to pay this money back, because I was working, I was earning, the money that I was earning, it was only 500 euros per month, because you are not allowed to work more than that. And if the money comes, I pay my rent, and that I have to buy food, clothes, I think it was only 200 euros. So it was impossible for me to come out of this debt at that time. So then my account was in negative for 4 years, in negative. So after the university, I said to myself, if I find a job, I will start paying this debt and I will start saving money. But I didn't realize that where I'm going to find a job. I study in a place called Gießen. But the time I finished my university, I don't have a job there. I tried to find a job at that place. There was no job for me. So I did find a job, but it's in Hamburg, where I'm living now. That was too far, and I have to find a room here also. I have to drive from Gießen to this place, and the move from Gießen to Hamburg, I spent 2,000 euros. So, and I am already in negative in my account, and my account I can go negative, but only 700 euros. So I have to take another 2,000 euros from somebody else so that I can move and start my new job. So as you can imagine, I took that money, I came to Hamburg here, I started working. And I started paying the debt, the 2,000 euro plus the 900 euro and plus the student fee I took from my guy. And after 3 months, I get fired from the job. So they said that no, we don't want you to work here anymore. So back to the ground zero again. I have to go to the Arbeitsamt to say that I have no job. So I was unemployed for, I think, for 6 or 7 months. And the guy, everybody's saying, hey, we need our money, we need our money. I say, sorry, man, but I can't at this moment, at this time. So after 6 months, probably, I found another job. And this job was paying decent. They are not paying that bad. I started working there. So I worked for this company 9 months. So in these 9 months, I paid all my debts. So then I promised to myself, I will never, ever again live without an emergency fund. I start to build my emergency money 2 to 5 months. Right now, as we speak, I have emergency money that can take care of me without no government support for 1 to 6 months at least. So, and as the time I had this money, I could feel the relief in my shoulders. And after that, after I have this money, my brain started to think about other option. What can I do with my money? What can I do with my money? Should I buy land in the Gambia? Should I invest in Germany? So then I found some ways where I can invest my money, for example, in ETF, stocks, cryptocurrency. But you can only invest if you have no debt. If you have your emergency money, then your brain can start searching for another opportunity where you can invest. But if you are in distress, you are thinking about, oh, I owe this guy 400 euro. I owe this guy 2,000 euros. You cannot think about investment. So my advice to every Gambians in the diaspora, in the Gambia, everywhere you are living, you need an emergency fund. I don't care how little it is, you need it to be safe so that you can save your family, you can save yourself, you can save your dignity. So that is what I want to talk about today. If you want to hear more about me, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe.